So today we're going to be talking about polynomials, and we've actually done work with polynomials this year. Anytime that we're using variables and numbers and multiple terms, and we're adding and subtracting and putting like terms together, these are all polynomials. Alright, so when we're discussing a polynomial, all we're really talking about is just a string of algebraic expressions put together with additions and subtractions and multiplications and all that good stuff. We do have a lot of vocabulary, though, that we discuss. When you have variables involved, and we're adding and subtracting and we're multiplying, we discuss and we refer to them as terms. Terms are the individual pieces of a polynomial, the things that are being added and subtracted. So we know that a term is just one of the things that are being added and subtracted in a polynomial. We have some things called constants. If you don't remember, constants are numbers that don't have a variable. So plus 5, 5 would be a constant. You know, x plus 5, x is a variable. I guess that's another word that we use a lot, a variable. Make sure that you're familiar with variable. It's the letter. Okay, constants are the numbers that have no variable. So just plus 5, minus 10, plus 23. Those are all constants. We discussed coefficient. A coefficient is a number in front of a variable. So 2x, x is the variable, 2 is its coefficient. All right. So these are some of the vocabulary that we use when we're discussing these things. Specifically with polynomials today, though, we want to have a couple of vocabulary words that we discuss, and the ones we really are going to concentrate on: a monomial, a binomial, and a trinomial. Okay, so a monomial, binomial, and a trinomial. So the first thing we need to know is how many terms does it have? A monomial has one term, mono. Mono is a prefix that generally means one. Okay? Binomial has that prefix of bi, which happens to mean two. Bicycle, bipedal. Bi means two. Alright? And so our tri prefix, tricycle, means that it is a polynomial that has three terms. So examples of all of these. Let's look at some examples. Now, it doesn't mean, a monomial does not mean that it can't have letters and numbers and bunches of letters. A monomial means it just has one term. A term can be made up of lots of things. It's just remember that different terms are added and subtracted to one another. So if you have something that has no addition and subtraction in it, then it's a monomial. Something like x, or 3x squared y cubed z. That is a monomial. There's a lot going on there, but there's nothing being added and subtracted. It's all multiplied together. It's all one term, so it would be a monomial. 5y would be a monomial. So again, nothing's added and subtracted. It just has one term. Binomials have two terms, so something has to be added or subtracted. We have to have two things that are either being added or subtracted. So I could have something like 2x plus 8. I have two things, they're being added. Negative 5x plus 7y. Two things, they're being added. 6xy squared minus 4xy. Okay? Two different things, and they're being subtracted. And it could be as simple as x plus 1. Two things, they're being added. Okay? So if we have two terms, they're being added or subtracted. Two terms makes it a binomial. Trinomial has to have three terms. So 2x squared plus 5x minus 7. Okay? Notice I have an addition sign and a subtraction sign. Two of those means three things are being added or subtracted. Three terms makes it a trinomial. I mean, you can have all kinds of things. 5x squared y cubed plus 2ab minus 6hm. 1, 2, 3 terms makes it a trinomial. And again, it could be as simple as x plus y plus 2. 1, 2, 3 terms. And that makes it a trinomial. So you have to be able to identify whether something is a monomial, a binomial, or a trinomial. Other things that I know you guys know how to do with polynomials is evaluate. If you are given a polynomial and then you are told what the variables need to be. So, for example, if we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 7, and we are told to evaluate it for x equal to -1, 6, and 4. Okay? Well, that just means that I need to take -1 and plug it in for x. I need to take 6 and plug it in for x. And I need to take 4 and I need to plug it in for x. So I would do 2 times -1 squared plus 3 times -1 minus 7. And thank goodness we have calculators. Okay, so I'm just going to do 2 times -1 squared. Alright, now notice, I'm putting my -1 in parentheses, then I'm squaring it. That's very important. If you do not do that, you will get wrong answers. You want to always get in this habit when we're evaluating of anything that you are substituting in for a variable, put it in parentheses. 3, and then I've got to plug in -1 instead of x, and then minus 7. And hit enter, and I get -8. So I know that that is equal to -8. Alright? Do the same thing for 6 and for 4. Now here's a nice little shortcut. If you've already typed it once, it can be really easy on your calculator to type it again. If you hit second and enter, it'll retype everything that you just typed. And all I have to do is go back and change -1 to 6. Use my arrow, come over here, and change my -1 to 6. Hit enter, I get 83. So, 1 left to go. 2 times 4 squared plus 3 times 4 minus 7 is equal to, let's figure out what that's equal to. So I'm going to do the same thing. Second, enter. I'm just going to scroll over here, change that to a 4, change that to a 4, hit enter, and I get 37. So you can evaluate polynomials by plugging numbers in. You can, was 37, yep. And we can identify whether it was a monomial, a binomial, or a trinomial. This one has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. So this would be a trinomial. And I can evaluate it for different things. If it has more than one letter in the polynomial, they will tell you what each of those letters needs to stand for. You just have to make sure that you plug them in to the right places.